Do you happen to have a nagging problem that seems to never go away, no matter what you do, no matter what you try, no matter what angle you look at it, or no matter how much you ignore it or put your energy to it? It could be a family member. It could be your issues with finances. It may be the ability to attract a loving life partner in your life. Maybe it's self-sabotage. It could be anything. I'm talking about that one big problem that you just can't seem to solve. What up, party people in the streets? What's up, everyone? How's it going today? Okay, party people, this video is far from a party tonight. Tonight we're going to get into some deeper things because we're talking about our biggest problems, and usually those are no laughing matter. So I'm just taking us down into a place where we can get in and talk about these things, and hopefully I can say something tonight to either bring some comfort or give you some direction you may need tonight. Welcome to day 18. We are trailblazing through this 30-day series. Today we're talking about how to solve your biggest problem. Yes, I bet you've been waiting for this solution for a long time. So let's get started into this, and hopefully I can offer you some sort of help in getting through it finally once and for all, and then to help you in the future when things come up. Okay, here we go. But I'm talking about that nagging problem that could go on for years and years and years and just doesn't seem to resolve itself. I want you to remember that whatever you're going through, whether it's something small or something big or some traumatic thing that comes out of nowhere, it is always an experience that we need at the time to learn more about ourselves, to bring awareness to ourselves that otherwise we may not have had the opportunity or the ability to experience. And sometimes these things feel awful. I mean, if we're talking about your biggest problem or something that's been bothering you for a long time that you just can't seem to solve, I'm sure it's probably something that you don't really like, otherwise it wouldn't be a problem, right? But I'm sure if you look back in your life and you think about the things that happened to you that were really big, that did resolve, usually at some point there was some great blessing that came from it. Not to say that you would say, oh, I'm so glad that happened to me, because sometimes it would be things that you probably wouldn't want to happen to you. Other times, maybe it would be okay that it did happen once you saw your blessing. It just depends on what the situation is. But no matter what, the bigger the problem, the bigger the blessing. When you're in it, it's hard to hear these words and find any comfort in it, I'm sure. Nobody wants to hear, oh, this big problem that you have that's been burdening you for so long, or that has traumatized you, or has made you so sad and lonely that there's some great big blessing, some huge blessing in it. That's not really helpful. I know that. But it is true. And so if you can kind of put that in your back pocket, I'm not saying that, just feel better about it, because we're emotional creatures and we can't just feel better about some things. And as I'm talking to you, I almost want to cry because I can feel your pains. I'm making this video and no one's even seeing it yet, but I can feel the pain that's going to come with this video. Because some people have experienced great loss in their life. Some people have experienced a lot of pain and suffering over seeing loved ones going through their issues and what they're dealing with. And in all of these cases where these things are big problems, it's usually things that our hands feel tied in some way. So sometimes these problems are because of other people that there's nothing we can do about it. Sometimes there are problems that we just haven't figured out how to do anything about it. But it is really hard when it involves other people, that it brings a lot of hurt and suffering upon you, or they had some kind of suffering or trauma, or you're having to watch someone go through that suffering and trauma, and it's just really hard for you to do that. Those are the ones that are really hard because you really can't do anything about it other than learn what you can do to feel better for yourself and get through it and learn what your part of it is. Because if you're involved in it in any way, and there are emotions tied to it in any way that are binding you to it, for sure there's something that the universe is showing to you that needs to be healed or looked at or understood or acknowledged in order for you to live the life that you have wanted, that you've been asking for, that you would prefer. So these experiences are conduits to getting us to the places that we want to be, that we desire. And the thing is, most times people don't connect those two things. And when they don't connect it, it's hard because they're not doing what they need to do to move through it in a way that at least it's more comfortable for you. If you can't let go of all of it, if you're seeing somebody suffer and that's really hard, but you have to find a way to carry on with your life and allow that story to unfold for yourself, for the other person, the other people involved, because everybody is learning something from that situation. Everybody is getting shown something that they need to experience from it, and it's going to be different for every person. So the only thing you can do is address it within yourself. Okay, so that's if somebody else is involved. If you have a big problem that you've tried to solve and you've never been able to solve, I can say with a lot of confidence that you don't know how to solve it. Otherwise, it would be solved. So that indicates to me that a lot of what you're doing is doing it on your own, taking it into your own hands. And you have to remember that we are all part of one universe, which means that we're all connected and everything that we do affects the whole, and everything that everybody else does affects the whole. I talk about energy a lot, and I could tell you so many things about energy that you would just be baffled about, that you may not even realize. Like, for example, war in the Middle East. Bombs going off, people being blown up. Do you think that just because it's not near us that we're not affected? We are completely affected by it. We are affected by every scream, every murder, every bomb, every attack, every death, every trauma. It doesn't matter what it is, because it goes out into the energy and it ripples through the universe. We are not that far from the Middle East, believe it or not. We live in a very small world, and what's happening halfway around the world will eventually affect us in vibration, if nothing else. When I spoke yesterday about us picking up on feelings and emotions of somebody next to us, not realizing it, and thinking that all this worry and fear is ours, but it really is somebody else's. The same thing can happen in that way. We could be getting these waves of distress and chaos going through the energetic waves of the universe and then eventually flowing through us. And it can cause a lot of fear of being in this world. Have you ever just stopped and said, you know what, this world is kind of scary. If I really thought about it, I should be worried. What if this happened? What if that happened? I mean, what's to say that we're any safer than anyone else. We're not. So when you start thinking like that and start having fearful thoughts about your world and what could be, very, very well, you could be picking up on some energy wave that came from a disaster, a war zone, some sort of crazy trauma. So it all affects us. Okay, so getting back to the point is, when you have a big problem, it's not just you having that problem or just you and whoever is involved having that problem. Everybody is that problem because we're all connected in some way. And so we have to remember that we have to ask the universe, whoever you tap into as your higher power, whether you call it universe, divine, God, Allah, you can call it source, light, whatever you want to call it. Some people like to work with their angels, and that's great too. But whatever higher source of energy and power that you work with, the more you are connected and tapped into that higher source of energy, of which you came from, by the way, the more you will receive divine higher wisdom, answers, and help. But many times, either you don't know that there's this help for you, or you forget to ask, or you don't trust it, or you're resentful of it in some way, that you don't ask and receive the help of it. Now, I've been talking in these last 18, 17 days about how to work with the universe, how to keep your moods in alignment and all of that stuff. And that's all part of being the whole. The first basic thing you have to remember is let it go. It's like, I have tried and tried for years and I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to feel better about this. I don't know how to get through this. I don't know how to make the best decision. And at that point, surrender and letting go is the best thing you can do. And let me just say a side note. If any of this problem has to do with another person, I want to encourage you to allow everyone in your life to live their own path the way they're going to live it. Definitely a hard thing to do. But would you want anybody coming along telling you what to do with yours or what you're doing wrong in yours and how you should be doing it and being worried all the time or mad all the time or pushy all the time about how you should be changing or how you should perceive things or how you should be doing something different? Nobody wants that monkey on their back, and it's nobody's job to do it. We all came to this human experience to experience certain things as a human being for our soul's evolution. Some people came to experience some really hardcore stuff. Some people came to experience an exciting, happy life full of adventure. Some people came to experience being worried all the time. Whatever it is, if it's not you, but out, the very best thing you can do for everyone, the people you're concerned about, is just to send them love and send them angels and send them lots of light and let them do what they need to do. Because let me fill you in on something. If you keep getting in the way, if you keep saving them, if you keep catching their fall, as long as you catch their fall, they will not get the experience that they need in this lifetime. So what will happen is more opportunities are going to come for them to have this experience. And you are going to keep wearing yourself out, stressing yourself out, going crazy, trying to catch every fall when there will be no ending to those situations and those falls. You will forever be doing that. The only thing you're doing is tiring yourself out, getting in the way of somebody else's experiences and lessons that they need to learn from, and prolonging the inevitable. because sooner or later that person is going to have to experience that fall, whether you want to see that happen or not. It is inevitable. They have to experience it. They're here to do it. So stop getting in the way. You're not doing you any favors, and you're certainly not doing them any favors. And one thing I always have heard in guidance when I counsel people is talking about parents with their kids. It's like, let them learn early rather than saving their falls until they're adults, because the consequences when they're younger are much better than the consequences they will experience as adults. Believe me. Let them learn when they're young. Let them fall. Let them experience. Be there when they fall to help them, to guide them, but not overbearing. Let them have their experience. Be there as a support, as a love, as a guidance, as a light, like a guide. As a guide would guide you, as an angel would guide you. Be there in that way, but never overpowering, never demanding, never controlling, never manipulating. You're not doing them a favor. You're getting in their way. You're making things harder for yourself and for them. You have to let people live their path. They are going to learn their lessons one way or another, with or without you, and there's not one thing you can do to stop that lesson if it's needing to be learned in this lifetime, period. Get out of people's paths. Worry about your own. Look at your own path. Stop looking at other people and being concerned about what they're doing. Be concerned about what you are doing. You have plenty to look at within yourself and to live your best life in moving forward on your path and what your soul is here to learn and experience. Okay, that said, when you have that big problem and you cannot seem to fix it, you want to say, you know what? I give up. I've tried everything. I'm just going to let this go. Universe, God, source, angels, whoever you work with, help me. Show me the way. I wonder how to get through this. Thank you for showing me the solutions. Thank you for sending me the resources, the messages, so loud and clear that I can't miss them. And just be at peace asking that way. Whenever I feel like I don't have the answer to something, I like to wonder. I wonder what I could do about this situation. I wonder what one thing I could do right now to start helping this situation. I wonder what the solution is to this. And then start thanking the universe. Thank you for the solutions. I am so excited to have the solution. Thank you. I don't need to figure out everything, and I am so grateful for your assistance and your help. Okay, that's your first thing you want to do, and actually feel it. And you're going to have to let go of that worry that you've gotten used to worrying about and being fearful about. You're going to have to start letting that stuff go. And I think I've told you this before. The one affirmation that really helps me with that is that everything always works out. It really does. Everything always works out for the best. It really does. And I'm sure you have proof of that. See, that's the thing. You've got to go back and look at the proof of the things that have worked out and how they've worked out. And hold on to that, because if you've gotten through other things in your life, certainly you can get through this. Now, I'm going to sidestep again. I am going to put a link in the description below of one of my blogs when I lived in Egypt, and I was writing about our soul's destiny and what that is and what that means in this lifetime. But it's really interesting, and I will put the link below. But I believe that we are here on a soul's destiny. I don't believe that we're here just going through the motions. I believe we have a path, and I believe that we're giving choices on how we're going to live that path. But I do believe we do have a destiny. So that said, whenever I feel like I'm worried about something, or how will I get through this, or it seems impossible, I always remind myself I knew when I came here, I was going to get to this point. And I know that there was no way that I said, when I get to that point, there's not going to be a solution. She's going to be screwed. There's no way I would have left myself hanging. And I don't believe that you would have left yourself hanging either. So get back to yourself. Remember that you are much more than this body and this energy that you have been getting used to. You are a soul that is residing on many dimensions, many levels, all at the same time. So you have part of your soul self in the divine light, in your higher self, in different dimensions. And if you could remember how amazing you are, how amazingly wise, and all the experiences you've had, you'd be blown away. But you're here just remembering what's going on here. However, you can open your consciousness. You can open your energy to the wonder of, wow, I wonder what else is out there of me. And just know you're so much bigger than yourself. There is an answer. You didn't leave yourself hanging. You have an answer. So don't get frustrated. Don't give up. Don't feel like there's not a solution. Don't feel like you have to be here in misery. You don't. The reason why you're experiencing that is because you've forgotten that you have an answer, that you came with an answer. You just don't remember it right now, and you haven't given it the time to be shown to you because of your beliefs, because you've been so tied up in the drama of it. And you've forgotten to ask, and maybe you did ask, but maybe you didn't trust, and maybe you didn't give it fully to Source, Universe, God, whoever you consider your highest power. But now is the time for you to do that. And the way you start doing that is first by saying, I don't know the answer. I am asking for help. Thank you for the solutions. Thank you for showing me my next step on what I have to do. And then remembering all the while to take care of your emotional state, your mental state. We've talked about that for the last 17 days, so I don't need to repeat what that is. But as long as you're feeling nervous and worried and scared and angry and resentful and controlling and all that stuff, you are not vibrating in an open, aligned way to matching the dreams and the good stuff that you want in your life. You're not. Even though I don't know what the stuff is that you want, I know that if you're carrying those energies, you're not aligning with it. Unless you were aligning to be, you want more anger and you want more stress and fear and all that, then you're doing perfect. And remember what I told you. You're going to be abundant no matter what, because this universe knows nothing but abundance. But what you're abundant in is your choice. So you can be abundant in this resentment, control, anger, manipulation, whatever it is, or you can say, I do not want that. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to feel like that person. And I certainly don't want to create more of that for myself. I'm going to cut the cord to that, and I'm going to let this person have their experience, or I'm going to give myself a break from this problem and let the universe show me how to fix it. In the meantime, I realize that I have to be attentive to my mood and my health and my well-being every day. So I'm going to do all these things I told you to do, how to get out of your funk, how to get out of your fear, drink some water, go for a walk, put your feet in the sand, in the grass, in the mud, in the river, in the ocean. Ground yourself and just get present with yourself and find some sort of relief in your day. Whether it is a beautiful day, look at those beautiful flowers. I am only going to focus on things that look good, feel good, that I want to see around me. Because when you start focusing on those things, you will see more of those things. And that big problem will start to resolve itself because you're not in it creating more of it. The more you focus on the problem, the more you worry about the problem, the more you try to figure out the problem, you're just in the dimension of that problem, and that problem is not going to resolve. You're just playing with that problem. That problem is going to play with you and play with you and play with you as long as you play with it, as long as you entertain it. So you need to step out of that energy of that problem, of those emotions, and separate yourself from it and say, I need to step out of that, because as long as I'm playing in that, I am just manifesting more and more of that, and that is backfiring. That is sabotaging myself. That is not what I want. I need to get out of that energy. And so put it in a bubble. Imagine it in its own bubble, put it all there, and detach yourself from it. Okay, I still have this issue, but it's not going to be me. It's not going to be of me. I'm not going to let it overtake me. I'm going to take this problem and all the energies that go with it, all the emotions that go with it, and I'm going to put it in this bubble, and I'm thank you, God, Creator, Universe, Divine, Angels, thank you, here. Show me. Thank you for the solutions. Detach from it. Okay? So, this is a very simple recipe once you've done that. Whenever you have a problem, you don't want to run from it. You don't want to ignore it. Like when I said about stacking your bills up and trying to forget about them because you don't know how they're ever going to get paid. Trying to hide from them or put them off is only going to make the universe hide from you and put it off. You need to face your problems, embrace it, and then start taking steps to resolve it. So you're going to face your problem. You know what? I've been ignoring this stack of bills, or I've been ignoring this problem, but I've been entertaining it, and I'm going to face it. I have this issue, and I'm ready to resolve this. I want my fear, my anger, whatever emotions are coming up by this problem, put it in a bubble, see all your emotion go there, see the problem there. Okay, I'm facing this, I'm embracing this, and I'm ready to resolve this. Like I said, you ask. Thank you for the solutions. I'm ready to let this go. Show me what I need to learn from this so I can let this go. That's a big one. When I wanted to leave my corporate job and I asked for 3 years, when can I quit? And they just, not yet, not yet. I was saying, show me what I need to learn from this so I can learn it and move on. I wanted to get through it. So I wanted to know what I needed to learn so I could resolve it and move on. So you can ask that question. Then you say to yourself, okay, I'm giving it to the universe. What is my job here? What kind of steps can I take to help this along? Because you don't want to just ignore it, right? But you don't want to be in it either. Your steps are every day to remember to keep putting whatever those emotions are to that problem back in that bubble, because they'll try to keep coming back. And if people are trying to come to you with their stuff, you say, you know what? I love you and I support you, but I've got to let you figure that out. If you have any questions I can help you with, I'm happy to help you with, but I can't solve it for you. Empower people to take responsibility for themselves. And that might be strange when you've been doing it all along, but you got to start somewhere, okay? And then you keep saying to the universe, thank you for the solutions. I'm so grateful. I'm just really ready to let that go. Thank you. And then keep your emotional state as aligned and healthy as possible. Now, one thing that you can do besides that is, what is one step I can take today that will help this situation? And every day that you think about that thing, you say, what is one step I can do today to help this situation? And it might be like, well, today I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to let the universe solve it for me. Today, I am going to make a phone call to find out about this. Or today, I'm going to research certain places just to find out if there's something that I missed. Today, I'm going to pray about it and let it go. Today, I'm going to go take a walk and just release the fear from myself. So I don't know what the steps would be, but make sure that they're small, doable steps. But make sure you're doing at least some small, doable steps, because you have to have some sort of movement in order for the universe to be able to have movement and start working with you. Yes, you can say, I wonder, thank you for taking this. But you can't stop there, because you just do that. It's almost like, well, it's still there. I see it. You've got to take some movement, but key, make it small. Doesn't have to be hard. What's one small thing today that I can do to help resolve this? Take that small step. A small step is enough for the universe to start coming in and helping you. But one small step every day. One small step. Maybe it's you tell that person, hey, I love you. I know you're having a hard time, but I still love you. Just let it be. Is there anything that I can help you with? No. Okay. Thank you. One small step. Okay? That's all you need to do. The universe will help you. And believe me, it's much easier to get rid of these things than we think. The problem is that we get so involved in it and keep it going for so long that it builds up, and it actually becomes part of our story. Once it becomes part of our story, it's part of our story. And then the only way out of it is to discreate it as part of your story or change your story. And that's what I was speaking about yesterday in the video about fear and worry. It was like when you start feeling that big fear, you don't go down that rabbit hole and create that story for yourself. You stop it. So these are stories that you've already created into your story. So it's a little harder to maneuver it, but you have the power, and only you, to recreate your story or change your story. And it takes you to have the awareness that you can change the story, and then take the steps to change your story and to stay committed to it and consistent to it. And when you do these things that I told you to do today, you can move out of it. You can change it. And you know what? When you change the story for yourself, and if this involves anybody else, when you start changing it for yourself, they'll start changing too. Yes. When you start healing things within yourself, when you start feeling better and not letting things that are low energy take over you and affect you, it will actually help that other person as well. So you're helping them by helping yourself. You're not helping them by trying to help them get in their way. But you work on yourself and your stuff and you get to a better place, you're actually going to help them get to a better place. It's amazing how it works. Everything always starts inside. It never starts on the people outside. If you're waiting for somebody to change in order for a situation to change, you might as well just give up on that. You don't wait for other people to change. You have to change in order to see the change in someone else. You have to change in order to see a change in the world. You have to change in order to see a change in anything you don't like. You need to look at yourself, ask yourself, what is this emotion that gets kicked up, and how can I discreate or change my story? And when you start changing your story, the story changes. It's a beautiful thing. So I invite you to listen to this recording again and really understand how to maneuver this. And every time you start getting caught up in that story again that you don't like, come back to this video to remind yourself of what you need to do. Because with some consistency and persistency and a lot of loving yourself and making sure that you're taking care of your well-being, you can change things hugely. And your life can be completely enhanced for the better. Okay, everybody? I hope that you learned a lot from that. Thank you for listening, because as you change, as you feel better, so does my universe, because we're all connected. And together, if we all work on our own stuff and stop trying to fix the stuff outside of us, we can really create an amazing universe together. Okay, so let's do it. And I'll see you all tomorrow on day 19. See you all later.